Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another Monday 9 at 9. If you are joining us here for the first time, my name is Darla Bonk, and I am the CEO and founder of Darla Bonk Consulting, a management consulting firm specializing in human resource, capital improvement, operational excellence, really making sure you as a company are functioning with the highest and most ethical excellence you possibly can. And I come in and help you with your teams and your business to focus on the things that you don't have the time for, to do the things that you don't have the capacity for, so that you and your team can focus on your zone of genius and continue to build the businesses that you love. I also am the host of the On Your Way podcast, where we help you overcome the obstacles that are in your way so that you can get on your way to building and living a life you love. So every Monday, I do this 9 minutes at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings, and we start to talk about motivation and business tips as CEOs and founders and executives. It is very tedious sometimes to keep ourselves up and motivated, right? Let alone do it for your team and keep your team compelled to continue to move forward in what they're needing to do to move your businesses forward, right? And the biggest thing that needs to be reminded is that you cannot fill from an empty cup. So for 9 quick minutes, we sit here and give you some tools that you can take back into your workplace and keep you going on your way. So today, I want to start off with a quote from Peter Drucker, and he says, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." And we are sitting here in an era of generative AI, right? We are sitting here where there is a machine telling us that's a great post, that's a great idea. We're using AI for brainstorming ideas, right? But I want to remind you that the greatest and most brilliant minds are those of you today. The brilliance lies inside of you. And AI, I think, is great for being creative, but it is not the creators. Do not replace your creators. Use it as a tool. Don't be afraid of it. But I want to get you back to the human mind in your business and how to empower those human minds to think differently, to train them how to think and not just teach them what to think, as this culture has really become in this day and age. But brilliance alone is not enough. Today, I am not here to tell you or remind you to act. I am just here to remind you that action is necessary. Action is required. There is so much thinking, there's so much writing down, there's so much planning happening right now as corporations and companies. You guys are all looking into 2025. You're just kind of, on autopilot through the rest of this year, which is crazy. And there's so much life left in your businesses for this year. You can turn the page on your businesses. But the action is necessary. There's a lot of talking and we need to do more doing, right? So I want to give you 3 things that you can do as an executive leader, as the CEO, that you can take back to your companies and implement today. And you'll always get that from me. You'll always see her things that you can take back today and start doing. I want to talk about number 1, the power of collaborative operationalization. I know that is a mouthful, but just hear me out. A lot of times it used to be in the old worlds of corporate where the CEO and board are dictating down what the company is going to do, right? Now there's this bottom up component of businesses where the people doing the work often have the most innovative ideas, right? But we as leaders don't do a great job of fostering that culture and creating that environment that allows for that innovation to take place and that collaboration to take place and to operationalize the business needs, to operationalize the ideas that are generated, right? So I want you to think about your role as a conductor. Okay. It's your job to orchestrate the symphony of minds, the talents, and the perspectives and bring them together. I don't want you to think about feeling like you're a dictator. I want you to think about, how can I be a conductor and know, when do the strings need to be highlighted? When does the bass need to be highlighted? When does the drum need to do its big bang? Think about that in the departments. Think about that in your people. Think about that in your players. Think about that with your clients. How do you conduct the symphony that is your business, right? So, what if, and you may do something like this, but I'm going to challenge you on a couple of things. What if you were to create, and I'm going to just use the easy thing that you can just take, you can name it something else, but a Feedback Friday. So, what if you, as the leader, were to create a time on Fridays where you don't have the phone, where you don't have the computer, where you are not in your office, where you are in a public space in your business? Let's assume your team is on site with you. Maybe it's in the conference room. Maybe it's in the open areas that people can gather. And from this time to this time, every Friday, you're going to be available to hear feedback from any employee within your organization. Now, I will tell you, I have a lot of my clients tell me, Darla, we do this all the time. We have suggestion box, we have open people, I've got open door policy. But how consistently do you do that? How open are you to that feedback? And how often do you do that? I have a client who he does this, but every time, and he now is admitting this, and he knows I'm sharing the story today. Every time I sit there and tell him that, or his people tell him what his feedback is, he always tells them they've already done it and here's why it won't work. He's like, well, nobody ever comes anymore. You wonder, I wonder why, right? But what if every Friday started off for 30 minutes? From this time to this time, I'm going to be available. Bring me any suggestion you have. And all you do is receive their suggestions, ask them how they would implement it, or ask them why something needs to change, and just ask them questions. Don't tell them anything about why the suggestion won't work. So Feedback Friday, and consistently. And I think that just by listening alone and then starting to incorporate these diverse perspectives in some of your strategy, you just might find more of a buy-in, more of a culture that you're looking for, and more of your people bringing to you solutions so you don't have to do all of that heavy lifting. Number 2, let's talk about the agility imperative. In this world where change is the only constant, agility is not just an advantage, it actually is going to have to be necessary. So your ability to pivot and to adapt and to evolve will determine your company and your teams and your leaders' ability to pivot and adapt and evolve. So within the next 30 days, I want you to identify 3 of the most rigid processes in your organization. And I want you to challenge the team to redesign the process, making the processes 50% more efficient and 100% more adaptable. Because remember, it is not about perfection, it is about progress. And for most of you, number 2 is going to be the hardest one for you. And then number 3, let's talk about the innovation ecosystem. Innovation, guys, is not a department. It is a culture, and it is not about having the best ideas. It is about your willingness and your ability to create an environment where great ideas can flourish and be implemented swiftly. So I want you to launch an entrepreneurship incubator within your company, because here's a shocker. Not every one of your employees wants to be an entrepreneur. I cannot tell you how many of my clients in my team, none of my employees look at this at what it takes to run a business. A lot of people don't want to run a business. They want to work, check out, and go live their life. They work so they can live. We old school people, we grew up with you live so you can work 30 days and 30 years and do your job and hopefully get a pension and climb up the ladder. It's shifted. So you also have to shift. You also have to pivot. But there are beautiful minds inside of your company and brilliant leaders inside of your company who don't want to work their own job. They or don't want to build their own company. They want to work for you. They have bought into your dream. They have bought into your vision. Now let them help you and create this entrepreneurship incubator within your company. I want you to do this within the next quarter. Okay, so I'm giving you timelines on all of these things. And I want you to think about starting to allocate resources and allocate time and mentorship to nurture those ideas from within your company. So you can turn your employees into these little mini entrepreneurs over whatever their little portion of responsibility that they have. But then I want you to sit back and watch what happens to your company, because that's where transformation is going to come in. So it's not just about contemplating and seeing and identifying what needs to be done. It's about actually taking the action to make something happen, because this is what we say in the community, right? In order to make a massive impact, you have to take massive action. And I bet if you were to do these three things consistently, your company, your people, your leadership team are going to see that that is a massive action that can create a massive impact. So number one, implement Feedback Friday. You as the leader are doing this. Don't delegate this to somebody else. You are doing this. You are communicating this to your entire organization. Here's the block of time you're going to be available. No technical devices, a pen, paper, pad, iPad, whatever it is, so you can write. No notifications, do not disturb. You are not available. They come in. Say you start off with 30 minutes. No one may show up. You do it again and you do it again and you do it again, because they're going to watch and see how real you are about it. So you're going to have to take the first step as the leader, right? Number two, you're going to redesign your three most rigid processes. You're determining what the three most rigid processes are in your company. And in the next 30 days, you're going to ask your team to create abilities to make this a much more agile process, but 100% adaptable. And then number three, create this entrepreneurship incubator program within the next quarter of your business. Okay? Because the greatest leaders, they do not just have visions. They do not just have visions. They make visions a reality. Leaders, it's not just about inspiring. It's about knowing how to operationalize those inspirations. And you don't just lead as a leader, you have to transform as a leader. And so as we leave today, and thank you for your time, I want you to realize that the future of business is not something that happens to you. It's something that you create. All right, guys, that is 9 minutes of motivation on Monday morning. I will see you back here next week. Go be amazing and make it a great week. See ya.